Hi, this is Javin Kharod, a production chemical engineer by profession, going to continue our today's topic, cooling tower. Define cooling tower. A full open, top cylindrical, concrete tower used for cooling water or condensing steam from an industrial process is called as cooling tower. Now, what is purpose of cooling tower? A cooling tower is heat rejection device that reject waste heat to the atmosphere through the cooling of coolant stream, usually a water stream, to a lower temperature. Now, what is size of cooling tower? Cooling tower vary in size from small roof top unit, very large hyperboloid structure as in adjustment range that can be heat up to 200 meter, 600 feet tall and 100 meter, 330 feet in diameter or rectangular structure that can be over 40 meter tall and 80 meter long. Now, what is evaporation rate in cooling tower? Water makeup requirement in cooling tower approximate 1000 British thermal unit. They are required to evaporate 20 gallon of water. Therefore, every tower ton 15,000 British thermal unit per hour required approximate 1.8 gallon of water evaporated 0.03 GPM per ton. What is component cooling tower? A drift eliminator located at top of the tower. It avoids escaping of water droplets and vapor into atmosphere. A cooling tower nozzle, cooling tower fan motor, cooling tower fill, cooling tower water basin, cooling tower mesh, bleed valve and foot valve and cooling tower air inlet. That are the component of cooling tower. Now, what is shape of cooling tower? Many cooling towers are made in specific cylindrical shape. Their base in wide, they narrow at the middle and become broad against the top. This shape is called hyperbola. What is cooling tower used for? A cooling tower are primary use for heating, ventilation and air conditioning and industrial purpose. Cooling tower provide a cost-effective and energy-efficient operation of system in need of cooling. Cooling tower, how it works? Cooling tower are recirculating water system used to remove heat from building, air conditioning equipment and industrial process. Cooling tower system work by using water to extract waste heat from a system and ejecting it into atmosphere primarily through evaporation. Now, move further. What is cooling tower and its type? There are many type of cooling tower that define how air is passed through them, and this type include cross flow, counter flow, hyperbolic. There are also two variety classified solely airflow and induced draft and passive draft cooling tower. Now, is cooling tower effective? Yes, very good questions. Cooling tower efficiency is limited by the ambient wet bulb atmosphere. This require very large tower and result in huge evaporation and wind or drift loss, resulting in particular not visible solution. Cooling tower efficient will be in between 70 to 75%. Now, how long cooling tower lasts? Cooling tower replacement can be costly proposition and average life expectancy of the commercial cooling tower according to most manufacturers in 15 to 20 years before they need to rebuild or replaced. Now, what is inside a cooling tower? cooling towers are essentially large boxes designed to maximize evaporation of water. To do this, they contain material, typically PVC plastic sheet, that create a large surface area for water evaporation to occur. This material is what fills the inside of cooling tower and is called cooling tower film. Now, what is difference between cooling tower and chiller? An industrial chiller remove heat from hot gases, coolant coming from a process using water or heat transfer fluid and transfer this heat to a refrigerant. In a water-cooled chiller, a cooling tower provides water to cool and condense the coolant. What is difference between cooling tower and condenser? Condenser turn a substance from a gas to liquid way of cooling it, which either air or water that would come from a cooling tower. The cooling tower water, so called open loop cooling tower, normally circulate over a condenser or heat exchanger to transport excess heat from the process. Now, do cooling tower causes pollutions? A common misconception is that the rise pollution, in fact, what they actually release of water vapor similar to but nowhere near as hot as steam coming out of your kettle every morning. Means cooling tower are neither greater pollutions. What is draft in cooling tower? Mechanical draft use power driven fan motor to force or draw air through the tower. A mechanical draft tower, which is fan at discharge, which pulls air up through the tower. The fan induces hot moist air out of the discharge. Now, what is dry cooling tower? A dry cooling tower conduct heat transfer through air-cooled heat exchanger that separate the working fluid from the cooling air because there is no direct contact between working fluid and ambient air. There is no water loss. In this system, dry cooling tower have two basic types, direct and indirect system. What is wet cooling tower? Wet cooling tower are those buildings where the water that was heated industrial or power generation process is cooled. Again, the heat is given to the environment. Wet cooling tower are an integral part of the thermodynamic circle that water to be cooled and is spread and distributed over a splash of fields. Now, what is range of cooling tower? As an essential factor in water cooling process, the cooling tower approach would be difference between cold water temperature and wet bulb temperature. The smaller number of more efficient and the cooling tower, normal cooling tower offer a range 5 to 9 degree Fahrenheit for each cooling tower approach. Now, in which season cooling tower work best? The efficiency of the counterflow induced draft type cooling tower is higher in winter season and lower in rainy season. The efficiency cooling tower winter season is 76 to 92%. Summer it is decreases 68 to 75% and rainy season it is most decreases 57 to 14% only. Right. Now, what is cooling tower capacity? Cooling tower capacity is the product, the mass flow rate of the water specific heat and temperature difference. This can also express heat rejected in kilocalorie per hour or British thermal unit per hour evaporation loss. This is the amount of water that evaporates during the cooling process. How do you maintain a cooling tower? By removing scale deposit. Because cooling tower working using evaporation, there is a build-up some scale deposit which has to remove re-slurry, keep airflow running, keep the tube clean, inspect water pump and treat the water. How thick cooling tower is that? It is basically like an eggshell. It is said that gives strength for majority of their height. A typical cooling tower in between 170 and 180 mm or 7 inches thick. What are type of cooling tower? The type of cooling tower based on the airflow generation, natural draft, mechanical draft, cross flow and counter flow tower. Okay, then move further. Why cooling tower so tall? Reason for general set hollow structure is required through where the hot air from the bottom, the cooler top, which is lower pressure, and air flowing through the tower means better cooling tower, air flowing, most air to pass through, best wider capacity, more gaps at bottom. Why cooling tower so big? First and foremost, hyperbolite shape impact the strength of entire structure. Given cooling tower are supposed to cool walking fluid down to a lower temperature, they release vapor into atmosphere through the opening at top and tower. This is why cooling tower have a large circular shape. What is difference between natural draft and mechanical draft cooling tower? A natural draft cooling tower use design and shape of tower itself to move up the air natural using fan. Mechanical draft tower tend to use fan to force the air. Can chiller work without a cooling tower? Air cooled chiller will be used fan below cool ambient air over there condensed to remove heat from system. This type does not use cooling tower. The water cooled chiller have two large cylinder. One is located evaporator and other is called condenser. Two cooling tower use refrigerant. Cooling tower water is circulated through heat exchanger where refrigerant vapor is condensed and heat transfer to the water. The purpose of the cooling tower is cool warm water returning from the heat exchanger so it can be used. What is TDS cooling tower? The cooling tower are used within for process water cooling or as-part air conditioning system, bleed blow down or pump cycle as water evaporate, concentrate the total dissolved solid in causes which is determine efficient operation of the unit. How do you cooling tower reduce water temperature? The decreases in the outlet water temperature by using water bath. Cooling is provided by conventional heat transfer formula. The second method deals with the decrease liquid to gas flow ratio by increasing air velocity with the help of cylinder block near the lower of cooling tower. Is cooling tower an evaporator or condenser? It contains two primary cylinder, an evaporator and condenser. There are many types: chiller, including centrifugal, reciprocating, screw-driven, and absorption chiller. A cooling tower acts as an air heat exchanger. It makes possible air conditioning large space. Now, what is evaporative cooling? Evaporative cooling is the conversion the liquid water into vapor using thermal energy in air resulting in lower air temperature. What is hybrid cooling tower? The hybrid cooling tower represents a suitable combination of wet and dry cooling with a favorable impact the environment meeting demand environmental requirement. The hybrid cooling tower reduces consumption of water and provide total heat rate at recirculated by the customer. How wet cooling tower work? Wet cooling tower use water to cool machinery. What make heat up and those use natural process for evaporation cool machinery. This tower rely on exchanger of heat between the machinery, the water in the tower and air passing through the tower. How cold can cooling tower get? In colder climate, many designers and operators are concentrated with operating cooling tower in sub-freezing temperature by following some simple operating guideline. Cooling tower can have between successfully operated very cold climate minus 15 degrees centigrade oblique 5 degrees Fahrenheit. How do you calculate water from a cooling tower? Cooling tower makeup calculation, evaporation loss, blowdown, cycle of concentration and capacity of cooling tower. This way we can calculate water of the cooling tower. Now, how can improve cooling tower performance? By save energy, reduce amount of water being consumed, decrease amount the chemical required for a water treatment, extend the equipment service life, reduce operating cost. Now, what is L by G means liquid and gas ratio in cooling tower. The liquid oblique gas is the ratio, cooling tower is the ratio between water and air mass flow rate. What is drift loss in cooling tower? Drift is water lost from cooling tower as liquid droplet environment in exhaust air. The drift loss independent of the water loss by evaporation and may be expressed unit pound per hour or percentage circulating water flow. Cooling tower drift eliminator are used to control this drift loss from the tower. Okay, then move further. How chiller calculated? By divided British thermal unit per hour by 12,000, the number of British thermal unit in 1 ton of cooling capacity. This yield chiller capacity required to handle the process heat load in tons per hour means 20 tons per hour. What is cooling tower film? Film or wet deck or surface, the medium utilized part of cooling tower built surface region of the tower, expanded surface territory, consider most section contact between air and water, which take into consideration more prominent dissipation rate. When should cooling tower fill will be replaced? Increases energy consumption when fill isn't doing its job properly. Water flowing through cooling tower isn't getting cooled. Calcium buildup, uneven distribution of water, vapor, sagging, fill pack and damage support grid. Are cooling tower hyperbolic? Cooling tower are used to transfer waste heat to the atmosphere and they are often to use for their ability to generate power efficiency because of their hyperbolic form. This structure able to withstand extreme wind while regular less material than any other form, their size and strength. Why chimney are hyperbolic? Hyperbolic tower operate through chimney or stack effect when air outside the cooling tower is cooler than the air inside tower. The air outside forces are the humid inside air travel upward. What are cooling tower used for? Cooling tower primary use for heating, ventilation, air conditioning and industrial purpose. Cooling tower provide a cost-effective and energy-efficient operation of system. Need the casing, cost-effective, energy-efficient and cooling tower. More than 1500 industrial facilities use large quantity water to cool their plant. Where cooling tower located? Cooling tower usually located rooftop or other outdoor site because they are frequently out of sight, often reflected by operation and maintenance technician, resulting lower cooling system efficiency. Okay guys, this is up to straight 47 questions of cooling tower. I hope you get sufficient knowledge by watching this video. You can still gain knowledge from my upcoming videos. Till then, goodbye, take care and wish you a very happy Sunday.